How do you speak when the wrong words can spark a crisis or a feud? Why, through your clothes, of course. And this is an art that the royals have mastered. You could spend years rehashing the bitter feud between Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and the rest of the royal family. In case you've forgotten, here's a quick refresher.
I asked for calm from the British tabloids.
I just didn't want to be alive anymore.
Clearly, Meghan has received a great deal of attention from the world's media since she began her relationship with Prince Harry. And this is also true for her wardrobe. Meghan's sleek silhouettes, pantsuits, and attention to detail have arguably set the stage for a new era of royal wear, and the gown she wore to the Ripple of Hope Award Gala in New York was no exception. But it was specifically her jewellery choice that had some royal watchers talking. Meghan and Harry were in town to receive the Robert F. Kennedy Ripple of Hope Award. For the event, Meghan wore Princess Diana's aquamarine ring. Often referred to as Diana's Freedom Ring, the late princess bought the piece in 1996 to replace her diamond and sapphire engagement ring, which now sits on Princess Catherine's hand. As the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have continued to forge their own path away from the royals, the hidden meaning behind Meghan's Freedom Ring is as clear as day. Times were tough for Britain when Princess Elizabeth and Philip Mountbatten tied the knot. The country was still recovering from the destruction of World War II, and Elizabeth used government ration coupons to pay for her dress. Nevertheless, the lavish dress was full of intricate detail work that evoked the nation's place in history. A beautiful silk satin gown in ivory, the dress was adorned with 10,000 pearls and delicately embossed with orange blossom and star lily embroidery. It took 7 weeks to make and cost the equivalent of about $37,000 at the time. But it was those embroidered details that truly spoke loudest. Orange blossoms and lilies were Elizabeth's way of representing the awakened spirit of Britain after World War II, symbolizing a new beginning not only for her and Philip, but for the country as well. Prince William and Princess Catherine's wedding was one of the events that put their cousin, Princess Beatrice, on the map. And not in a good way. The British media absolutely dragged her and her sister, Princess Eugenie, for their outfits at the wedding. But before long, Beatrice got her own back. Over the following years, Beatrice experienced what can only be described as a fashion renaissance, as her style evolved from young princess playing dress-up to leading lady. After hitting the 2018 Met Gala in a royal purple number, Beatrice returned to England to attend the Chelsea Flower Show. Wearing a tulle dress with floral detailing, Beatrice completed her ensemble with a pair of comfortable loafers and a white blazer. But it was her handbag that had fashion fans talking. Her leather box bag from Pop and Suki can be personalized with an embossed name, but Beatrice opted for the phrase, "Be cool, be nice," a tribute to her anti-cyberbullying campaign. The 1980s was a big decade for the royals. Princess Diana and Prince Charles tied the knot in 1981, and their wedding was followed by the nuptials of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson in 1986. To many, it felt as though the royal family had been given some much-needed youthful vitality, as both Diana and Fergie were newcomers who intrigued the press and public. Though Charles and Diana's wedding was obviously the bigger affair, Fergie and Andrew's was nothing to be sniffed at. The crowds came out in full force to celebrate the couple on their big day, and both Andrew and Fergie's families joined each other to witness their union, which, like Charles and Diana's, turned out to be rather short-lived. Susan Barantis, Fergie's mother, pulled out all the stops for her daughter's wedding, carrying a Manolo Blahnik bag that clearly stayed in the family. When Andrew and Fergie's daughter, Princess Eugenie, tied the knot with Jack Brooksbank in 2018, Fergie, the proud mother of the bride, carried her own mother's Manolo Blahnik bag. When you think about royal wedding dresses, a number of designs might come to mind. Sarah Ferguson's wedding gown has slipped a little under the radar, especially compared to dresses worn by other members of the royal family. As it turns out, though, her gown was full of intentional details that all held hidden meanings, making her dress truly one of a kind. Fergie's dress was designed by Linka Chirac, and featured a number of intricate beadwork designs. First up was Fergie's family's coat of arms, with the symbols of both bees and thistles embroidered into the gown. To honour Prince Andrew and his military career, Fergie had waves and anchors embroidered on her train, and she had a large A thrown in for good measure. On the bodice itself were 4 S letters for Sarah, presumably included in case she lost her dress on the bus. Fergie also wore a flower crown during the ceremony, but opted to reveal the York diamond tiara that had been commissioned by Queen Elizabeth after the wedding itself. The welcoming of a new baby is often celebrated by fans of the royals. For example, the British media and much of the public rejoiced over the births of both Prince William and Prince Harry in the 1980s. Princess Catherine was probably well aware of this legacy when welcoming her own babies, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, and she made a point of choosing meaningful wardrobe pieces to wear as she stepped out of the Lindo wing of St Mary's Hospital. Catherine chose a short-sleeved blue dress with subtle polka dots by designer Jenny Packham when she emerged from the hospital with little George. Catherine's dress was a nod to Diana, who also wore a polka-dotted dress when leaving the hospital with William. When Catherine returned to St Mary's for Louis's birth, she left the hospital in a red dress with a prominent white collar. This outfit harked back to the dress Diana had worn when she left the hospital with Harry. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle tied the knot in 2018. In order to honour the family and tradition into which she was marrying, Meghan made specific requests for her wedding dress and veil, and, although it was simple and elegant in design, hidden messages existed in the details.
Somewhere in here, there's a piece of, did you see it? The piece of blue fabric that's stitched inside?
No.
It was my something blue. It's fabric from my...
I hope it's still in there.
Yes.
Meghan's veil was designed by Claire Waite Keller, who incorporated the local flowers of each of the 53 Commonwealth countries into the design. Notably, Prince Harry had been made an ambassador of Commonwealth Youth shortly before the wedding, and Meghan's veil acted as a nod to her new husband's charity initiatives. The veil was secured with Queen Mary's diamond bandeau tiara, lent to Meghan by the Queen for the big day. The tiara itself was made in 1932, but its centerpiece dates all the way back to 1893. As many of us know from our own traditions, religions, and folklore, colours often have significant meanings hidden beneath their hue. Queen Elizabeth was well known for her vibrant attire, and the outfit she opted for on the day of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding spoke volumes. The late monarch wore a lime green dress and coat by designer Stuart Parvin, which she paired with purple and grey hues. Some theorise that the colours Elizabeth chose were indicative of her feelings about their marriage. June MacLeod, author of Colour Psychology Today, told Good Housekeeping that the monarch's choice of green and purple indicated that the Queen was hopeful that the marriage would usher in a new era for the royal family. She said, "Green is the colour of growth and rebirth. A person who wears green is the regulator and open-hearted. Purple is a proud colour. It also symbolises cleansing and indicates a passion for creativity." Although she was known for the occasional fashion faux pas in the past, Princess Eugenie stunned royals' fans on her own big day. Eugenie's dress was designed by Peter Pilotto and Christopher DeVos of British designer label Peter Pilotto. It featured a fitted corset top with an off-the-shoulder neckline, and the back of the dress scooped into a low back V-shape. The bodice elegantly flowed into a full skirt with pleated detail, but it was the lower back detail that really said it all. As a child, Eugenie suffered from scoliosis and underwent corrective surgery at just 12 years old. For her wedding day, Eugenie specifically chose a gown that wouldn't cover her scar. She explained, "I had always wanted a low back. Part of it was showing my scar. I believe scars tell a story about your past and your future, and it's a way of getting rid of a taboo." Given the many times she has evoked Princess Diana through her outfit choices, it is a little strange to think that Princess Catherine never got to meet her late mother-in-law. The two seem inexplicably linked in role and title. Both Princesses of Wales, Diana and Catherine have more or less merged in the public eye.
I would love to have met her, and she's obviously she's an inspirational woman to look up to.
With this in mind, Catherine's dress choice when honouring Diana on the 20th anniversary of her death was subtly meaningful. Catherine joined Prince William and Prince Harry as they went to the Memorial Garden to pay tribute to their mother. The then Duchess of Cambridge wore a tea-length dress from Prada that featured long sleeves and a high neckline in addition to its intricate floral pattern. It was in that pattern that the hidden message to Diana existed. Poppies, which were a focal flower in the design, are utilised in Great Britain to honour those that have passed. The design of the dress was also brought together with a pussy bow, which was a favourite design style of Diana's. Though Catherine has gone as far as replicating some of Diana's looks, it's this kind of hidden tribute that often speaks louder than words. At the end of the day, all royals can be divided into two categories: those who wear gloves and those who don't. Maybe this sounds a little strange, but the formal appeal of gloves was very much enjoyed by Queen Elizabeth, who kept a warm but distant relationship with her subjects. Compare that to Princess Diana, who chose not to wear gloves so that she could further connect with people through touch. As it turns out, though, there are two other reasons why the late monarch wore gloves on a regular basis. The first was health. The Queen wore white gloves while out and about, allowing her a layer of protection while shaking hands and greeting people. With such a busy schedule, it made sense to prioritise protecting the Queen from any kind of avoidable illness. For Elizabeth, gloves also represented continuity. She began wearing pairs from glove designer Cornelia James all the way back in 1947 and never stopped. Over the years, the Queen's gloves became as much an extension of her image as her iconic black handbag and colourful outfits. As any royal watcher will tell you, Britain's monarch is supposed to remain politically neutral. The late Queen Elizabeth was known for her balanced approach when it came to most things, and this goes especially for politics. However, on one particular visit, she allowed her accessories to do the talking for her. Former President Donald Trump and former First Lady Melania Trump visited the United Kingdom during their time in the White House. During a separate engagement that took place on the couple's first day in the country, the Queen was seen wearing a green brooch. Many wouldn't think much of it, but as it happens, the brooch was given to her by former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama to honour their friendship. Then, on day 2 of Trump's visit, Elizabeth wore a brooch that her mother had worn for King George VI's funeral. The day after her meeting with Trump, she donned a brooch gifted to her by Commonwealth country Canada. At the time, the then president was quarrelling with the neighbouring country. The Queen seemed to allow her jewellery to speak when it would have been out of the question to comment on a political visit.